Hello, Zach. Hello, 7 comedians. I'm so excited to be here tonight. Welcome to the Zach Social Distance Sessions. This is the comedy night of the month. I am so excited that we could do this tonight. Normally, I would thank everybody for driving down during a snowstorm, but you guys didn't do shit except for the 7 of you. Everybody else? Nothing. Yeah, it's snowing. I feel like I get really upset when the weathermen tell me now to stay inside when there's a storm because of the pandemic. They're like, you better stay inside tonight. I'm like, for which deadly reason am I staying inside tonight? Yeah, I have to cancel all my plans that I had for the snowstorm. I talked to my babysitter before I left tonight. She's like one of these 6th generation Montanans. And you can tell because I was like, how are the roads? And she was like, I don't know, sparkly? It's like, okay, thanks for your input. Because Montanans, they just drive on the roads the same exact way, no matter what they look like. And it's scary and dangerous. I learned that early on in my career. So I'm really glad everybody's here tonight. We're here for a great cause. We're here for 2 great causes. 2 of my very favorite nonprofits in town are benefiting. If you want to donate for 1 hour of laughs, I don't know how much that's worth to you, but I'm going to put up the sign, but you don't have to pay attention to it. You just have to go to the chat area of whatever stream you're watching, and you can donate. Part of the money goes to the Zach, which does all of this. Part of the money goes to the Roxy, which does a lot of awesome theater programming as well. And as you might guess, it's been a year for them. So making sure that we can keep them going until all of this goes away is really good and important. So yeah, what else? Well, I'm kind of bummed the pandemic's going to end soon. I think it's going to end soon. I've been called a glass half empty person before, but I'm worried. I'm worried about a couple things. First of all, I guess I'll stop being on public access television when this all ends. Secondly, though, we're going to have a lot of favors due when this ends, right? like how many times in the last 11 months have you been like, oh my God, I would love to, except for the deadly virus, so I can't. But if I could, if there wasn't a deadly virus in the air, I would be there for you. I would be there for you, but I can't. But I would be there, but I can't. That's all coming to an end really soon. You know, it's like what Hemingway said, do sober what you said you'd do drunk, except we have 11 months of it. 11 months of I have to go on so many Tinder dates if this thing clears up. I have to buy lunch for so many people, to hug so many people. How many times have you seen a person and you're like, oh my God, I wish I could, but I can't. Yeah, we're gonna have to. Yeah, it's gonna suck when this pandemic's over. I'm sure of it. And that's not the only thing. There's other things. I won't be able to do teletherapy anymore. I've been seeing my therapist over Zoom for the last year. Usually I go to her office, but we've been doing it over Zoom. And I just love teletherapy. And it's not because I get to stay home. It's because I get to see her interact with her dogs. And it's so adorable, you know. She's the mailman comes and the dogs bark, and she gets sort of this just really caring look on her face, and she's like, this is not about whether you should or should not bark. this is about why you're barking. I'm like furiously taking notes. Like, why am I barking? Should I bark? I don't know. And we're so deep into the pandemic, we can't go back, right? We're too deep in this. I feel like we used to be pandemic babies. Like 11 months ago, we're like, here's my sourdough bread. And like now I'm like building a survival structure out of my takeout chopsticks. Like I can't go back. I'm comfortable now. I know how to deal with everything now. How I deal with everything is I just say, okay, no matter what happens. Just like, okay, Like, yeah, I don't love you anymore. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, yeah, this is never gonna end. Okay, yeah. You have to wear 3 masks on top of each other. Sure, yeah. Good, fine. Everything's okay. Everything's fine. What else? I think that might be all my new jokes. But I just do want to say it's so nice to be here. It's so nice to do comedy. It's so nice to keep this going. We could not do it without the Zach. Without the Zach, all of the people that you'll see tonight would be at home. I don't know what they would be doing. I don't know. I don't know what they would be doing. We have a great headliner tonight. Jordan Amander's here, and he's totally great. He's going to close out the show in about 50 minutes. And it's just going to be wonderful. Like, I have lipstick on. This is going to be great. You know, usually I use my lipstick now to just write okay on the bathroom mirror really big. Tonight, it's a celebration. So thanks for being here. Let me welcome your first comedian, who I'm totally blanking on. Who can shout it out? Who knows? Corey! Oh my gosh. Corey is so great. Thank you. Sorry. Corey is so great. He runs comedy shows in town. He's been on the scene for a couple of years. And he looks, a little haggard since the last time I saw him, but I think he's fine. So please welcome Corey. Come on up. Yay!
Yeah, I look haggard, I know. So everybody in this room basically knows all my material. So I thought I'd do something different, and I'm just gonna tell you all a story. In 2012, I was working at Taco del Sol. Yeah. And one of the upsides of working at Taco del Sol is you get to eat for free all the time, like whenever you want, pretty much. One of the downsides is all you can afford to eat is Taco del Sol. So when you live on a diet of basically just burritos, you're gonna have some intestinal problems. So just take that into account. So one day I was at work using the restroom, and I got a call from my girlfriend, and at the time we were fighting, and I didn't really want to talk to her, but I knew I couldn't not answer the phone, so I answered the phone like this. What? Which is like the nicest way to answer. And on the other line, or through the phone, all I hear is sobbing, and she tells me that my friend Conrad had just died. And yeah, Conrad was awesome. Just one of those people that you're never disappointed that they're there. He's kind of a play fighter, fun person all around. Yeah. Anyway, she tells me this, and it takes a second to kind of sink in, but when it does, I look down between my legs because I'm sitting on the toilet, and I see just written on the lip of the toilet in green Sharpie just the word shit with a period, which to me kind of like fully encapsulates the moment in itself. So I get up, I finish in the bathroom, and I just leave work. I go get on my bike, and my girlfriend rolls up on her bike, and she's got our dog with us, who's about a year old at the time. So we immediately hug and start crying, and we get on our bikes to go to my house, which is about a half mile away. And at a certain point on our way home, my dog just kind of shits in the street. And we're not in the right headspace to kind of deal with that, so we just keep going. But a good Samaritan noticed it and decided that the best course of action was to follow us on her bike, screaming at us the whole time. So we're going about the speed of a puppy, like this, and this good Samaritan was a very large woman, also on a bike. It was kind of like watching the O.J. Simpson chase, just a low-speed chase all the way to my house. And we got close enough to my house where I was like, okay, I can't have this person coming over to my house right now. So I stopped, turned around, and approached them, and I'm sure I was super nice, but effectively I told them to get fucked. And they did. So I got home, and I opened my front door, and that's when the real moment set in. You see all my friends' faces, and that we all have the same expression on our face of just being gut punched. And so to cope with it, we did kind of the only thing that we knew how to do, and that was just get fucking wasted. So the whole rest of the day was kind of just a revolving door of crying drunk people walking in, hugging, crying, drinking. And that's basically how it went for the majority of the night. I got so drunk that I can't really remember too much, but I remember bits and pieces. And I remember one of my friends at a certain point saying, let's get some fucking bitches in here. And in my mind, I just ignored him at the time, but in my mind, I'm like, that's not the play. Can you imagine just 3 college girls walking up to this house thinking that they're gonna walk into a house party, and they just open the door and there's 30 crying, wasted people? That's not the party you wanna go to. So the night just kind of drags on like that. It's a lot of pain. Everyone was really, really torn up. Until eventually I went to bed. I got in bed and I grabbed a beer off of my windowsill and took a swig. And my room in my 20s was one of those cool rooms that you come across when you're in your 20s. It's full of stuff, just a lot of trash, like a lot of really cool trash everywhere. This beer can was one of those pieces of trash, and when I took the swig, not a sip, it was a full mouthful. It came with a flavor that I can only describe as a dumpster behind a bar, but also came with a texture. I could describe it as a congealed ball of mucus covered in wet tennis ball fur. And unlike a lot of people, you might try to spit that out or rush to the bathroom because you're gonna throw up. Not me. I stomached that shit, and I kept it down like a fucking champion. The whole next day I just wished that I could throw up, but I just didn't. I willed myself to not throw up. It was a pretty amazing feat. I feel like it deserves a little more recognition than that, but that night I had a dream about Conrad, and it was one of those weird dreams where you're not, where you're trying to accomplish something, but you're not really sure what it is you're trying to do, like trying to take a square peg and put it in a round hole, but you can't figure out how to do it. And I'm trying to do this thing, and Conrad shows up. And he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, you're doing that wrong." I'm like, oh, okay, here, like, show me how. And so he takes whatever it is that I'm trying to do, and he goes, you do it like this. And then he hits me in the nuts and runs away. And then I woke up and just thought, like, yeah, that's about par for the course. That was just who Conrad was. He was just really fun. And we all miss him. Anyway, that's my story of how I had the worst day ever and I didn't throw up. I'm not really sure where I am on time, but that's all I'm going to do tonight. So let me introduce the next comedian. The mercurial icon and the voice of your generation. A very funny comedian, an all-around good person. Please welcome Charlie McCorn.
Thank you very much. Keep it going for Corey, please. Corey, thank you so much. This is embarrassing. I also had a story about when my friend Conrad died, so I feel a little embarrassed telling it now. But no, hi, my name is Charlie McCorn. I am very glad to be with you here this evening. Before we get started, just so everyone knows, yes, I am transgender, so we have about 10 minutes before the Montana legislature triangulates my location and sends Greg Gianforte's illiterate goons to work me over with rubber mallets in the name of religious freedom. So I'll be brief, okay? I know we're all having a crazy year. We're all having a really weird year right now, but life still continues, which I think is very important to remember. You know, we have birthdays, we have holidays, we have New Year's resolutions. My New Year's resolution this year, got to find a new job. My current job, it's just too depressing. I work at a dog cemetery, and couldn't be more different than the human cemetery. Because a human cemetery has great Wi-Fi, a dog cemetery has a lot of dead spots. Thank you. No, I did mention earlier, it was not a joke, I am transgender, surprise. And it's an exciting time to be transgender, it really is. We are more visible now than I think we've really ever been. And personally, I love being trans. Because now I can talk about things that I was too ashamed to before. Like how much I fucking love professional wrestling. Because it used to be like that's something I needed to hide away from people. People would not understand. But, you know, now that I'm a transsexual, it's like the least embarrassing thing about me. And I love wrestlers, I really do. I really relate to them, you know, because they're these people who are working so hard to, you know, just like get their perfect bodies, and they're getting really good at makeup, and they're traveling the country, and, you know, high rates of like homelessness and drug addiction, and they die tragically young. And every day people still see them on the street, and they'll come up to them and they'll say, hey, I don't believe in what you do, I think you're fake. And as a trans person, I really relate to that, because, you know, I get called fake, but professional wrestling, you know, like gender, it's not fake. It's choreographed. Big difference on that. It doesn't stop people from asking me stupid questions when I started coming out. People will ask me things like, oh, so you're trans, huh? So you're telling me that if you had a time machine, the only reason you would use it is to go back in time and live your whole life over as the opposite sex? Well, first of all, yes. Second of all, I'd also try to stop 9/11, but no one would listen to my warnings because I'm a girl. That's also not how time machines work, officer. I don't know what your problem is. People are going to ask me things like, so are you doing this? Are you transitioning because you feel like a woman in a man's body, Charlie? I say, no, absolutely not. Well, are you doing this because gender is a social construct and every person should have a right to express their true self to the world around them? No, it's not that one either. Or are you doing this because you're bad at math and a lousy driver? Ouch. Well, are you doing it because you're a pervert? Yes, a little bit, but that's not the main reason. Well, are you doing it because you were traumatized by the film Titanic and you want to make sure that if you're ever in like some sort of cruise ship disaster, you're one of the first people on the life raft? Yeah, that's exactly it, like 100%. That's why I did it. Not saying that that wouldn't be awkward, like me alone in the ocean in this life raft surrounded by all these cis women whose husbands have just drowned, and all these orphaned children, and I'm the only one that can pee off the side of the raft. Maybe it won't be that bad, maybe that won't be that bad, maybe like some of them are wrestling fans and we can talk about that, I don't know, I do not know. People ask me things like, well, what do you know what it's like to feel like a woman? And that's a question that I get held up on, because I don't really have a good answer for that, because I can only speak from my own experience. I only know what I feel. But I do. I honestly do. Some days I wake up and I look at myself in the mirror and I feel like a woman, because I say to myself, Jesus Christ, I hope no one murders me today. I know that joke's a little intense. I know, okay, I get it. I'm just trying to say things are scary out there. Things are scary right now, you know? But thankfully, I have found a surefire way of protecting myself by separating the good people from the bad people in my life. And this is super easy, and you can do this even if you're not trans. Take this and be more successful and more happy in your life. You just ask them one simple question. You ask them, what superpower would you most like to have? Two kinds of people. The first kind are going to say, oh, well, you know, I want to fly like Superman, you know, up in the sky, wind whipping through my hair, looking down at a planet where I'm so high up I can see no borders, and all the people down there look the same, because we are. Those are the good people. The other people will say invisibility, and they're all sex criminals. Every single one of them. Not every single one of them, that's unfair. Probably some murderers in there, honestly. Like, there's probably people in your life that if they could turn invisible, what they would do is immediately start pushing old people down flights of stairs. Just, and then they'd run away. That's what a year of watching news has taught me about our society right now. My dad hates that joke. He pushed people down a flight of stairs. He may have, actually. I grew up in Deer Lodge. My dad is a prison guard. He's been a prison guard at Montana State Prison for 30 years. Having a prison guard as a father, I'll let you know, had absolutely no negative impact on my mental health, my sense of being, or my happiness. It did make me really good at having secret gay sex under his nose, though. Joke my dad told me, how many prison guards does it take to throw an inmate down a flight of stairs? None. He tripped. It's rough. It's rough growing up that, and you know, we need to be nice to my dad. He's had a really rough year, you know. His oldest just came out as a transsexual, like rough for him right now, okay? And I'm really glad, actually, that silver lining of the pandemic, you know, when my parents told me, oh yeah, well, you're not coming home for Christmas then, I was able to say, that's right, I wasn't to anyway, because I love you, you weirdos. But we still had Christmas. They mailed me something. My dad mailed me a package. And I was surprised because my dad's normally just awful at buying gifts. So terrible. 2 years ago for Christmas, he bought me 3 used snow tires. I don't own a vehicle. Like, I got 3, I guess, tire swings now. Thanks, Dad. Great gift. This year, though, I was a little surprised. I open up the gift, and it's a brand new red yoga mat. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's exciting, because I do yoga. I do yoga. I do DDP yoga. It's a form of yoga invented by the professional wrestler Diamond Dallas Page. A fact I would have never told you about myself unless I grew these rockin' tits. So, and I take the yoga mat, and I unfurl it, and there's a giant Confederate flag printed on it. Okay. I know we as a society are having a much larger conversation about where the Confederate flag belongs. We all have our own opinions. Some of them are abhorrent, let me just say. But, you know, I think that we can agree that wherever it might belong, like, okay, for me, do I believe it belongs like flying above a courthouse? No, absolutely not. How about a museum? Yeah, that's fine. Well, what about a tribute to Leonard Skinner tattooed on the arm of a man who loves drinking cold beer as much as he loves voting against his own self-interests? And I'm fine with that one. I really am. Tattoos are expensive to remove. He doesn't have the money. The cold jobs did not come back. He was lied to. It's not his fault, okay? But wherever you stand on the side of this debate, the right side or the wrong side, we can all agree that it doesn't belong on a yoga mat. So I confronted my dad. I'm like, Dad, why do you think this is an appropriate gift for anyone, let alone me? He says, well, you could stand to lose a few pounds. I go, oh, no, Dad, not the yoga part. The Confederate flag part. He said, well, I know how much you love the Civil War. I don't love the Civil War, Dad. I've just read a lot of books about it. I also love movies about World War II. That doesn't mean you should buy me a Hitler Youth tracksuit for my birthday. Why is it that when you buy gifts from me, it's like you're buying them for a stranger? It's like you're putting no thought in it. It's like, what is going on, Dad? And he said, well, it's because I'm ashamed of you. Like, you're supposed to be my firstborn son, and here you are doing this thing that I think is embarrassing to the family and honestly is sinful. When people ask about you, I want to tell them that you died. I sometimes wish you were never born. So I turned invisible and I pushed him down a flight of stairs. All right, folks, I'm going to leave you with this one. I know that I'm very funny, I'm very talented. I have never won a trophy. I've never been given a trophy for anything in my entire life. The closest that I came to is that I once won first place at Drag Queen Karaoke. First prize was a brand new glass marital aid in the box. Which, okay, not a real trophy, obviously, because I had to take it home and mount it myself. Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary friends, my name is Charlie McCorn. I'm very excited to bring up this next comedian. She is a fantastic humorist. She's a wonderful actress, and she's a great friend. Please welcome to the stage the very funny, the very talented, the very Amy Lee Smith.
Wow, you need to write my bio for Tinder. Like, seriously, Charlie. That's super nice of you. I've been like super busy. I'm actually really exhausted. I've been pumping and dumping Tootsie Roll stock all week. It's crazy. Like, I never thought that Tootsie Roll would be part of the new revolution, but it is. And I made sure to get some really sound financial advice, not from Reddit. I actually got it from my nephew's Instagram story, and yeah, it seemed to be really fruitful for myself. I've invested in Nokia. I mean, if Nokia could be a Fortune 500 company, that's pretty cool, because I haven't seen anyone use a Nokia phone since Zach Morris and Saved by the Bell, and yeah, I mean, that phone was, it was like a Nokia phone the size of a Kia car. It's pretty huge, guys, just so you know that. Yeah, I guess, yeah, COVID, that's why we're doing this. So I'll talk it. Yeah, COVID it's interesting. Like, when we first had shelter, I almost said shelter in space. Not shelter in place. Shelter in space is like the billionaire's escape plan once this is over with. No, shelter in place, I realize, something I really miss is traffic. I just really miss yelling at people about their shitty driving skills. That was huge for me. So I decided instead to yell at people about their really shitty walking skills instead, as they'd walk by my house. So I'd stand in the front yard and I'd be like, "What are you doing? Where'd you learn to walk? Oh my God, you walk like an old lady. Just move over. Go back to where you came from." Yeah. And I thought, okay, I'll do this at the grocery store. So I would do it with people when they were pushing their carts at the grocery store. And I'd be like, "Stay in your lane. Yeah, you're just going to park right there and we're all going to wait. We're just going to wait. And you're talking on your phone." Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't making a lot of friends during COVID at all. And I was actually really worried about my son because he's a teenager, and I wasn't sure if he was really social distancing, so I decided to invent a body spray for him. And it's called Quarantine Spirit. Yeah, and it smells like shit. So it smells like coffee breath with bong breath mixed together, and like he rolled around in dead fish and farts, and it smells like white cheddar Cheez-Its. Have you guys ever smelled that before? Anybody? It smells like a yeast infection. They're disgusting. I wouldn't recommend anyone eating them like in public. And I thought, okay, yeah, if I'm gonna make him a body spray, I'm gonna make a body spray for myself. And I made one that's called Insta Give a Shit. And you spray it on your body and it makes you look like you care. It's automatically, and it smells like new car smell and compassion. So, and I'm not wearing it right now, if you're wondering. Yeah, it seems like during this time, a lot of people decided to get into artisanal, like, making bread, brewing beer, knitting full outfits. And I was just like really bad at all of that. So I decided to become a rap star. Yeah. So I have a rap. Do you guys want to hear it? Okay. Usually people say no, so that's pretty cool. All right, here we go. Here we go. Yo, yo, yo. Sitting on my porch on COVID days, waving at my neighbors, drinking IPAs, Instagram, Facebook, lots of Twitter, 99 Zoom dogs with, oh my God, I already fucked it up. 99 Zoom calls with my sisters. Got my hand in my pocket, sanitizer in the car. It's time to go to the grocery store. It's on my calendar. Yo. Yeah, that was kind of fucked up. Okay, yeah. So my son and I, we were trying to figure out how to entertain ourselves around Halloween. So we decided to watch one horror movie every day of October. And we started like with the really scary stuff. Like we started and worked our way backwards. And yeah, so we had like, we were watching The Haunting and All the Rings, Michael Myers, all those movies. And the one that actually seemed to be the scariest was the one that wasn't supposed to be scary, and that was the movie Signs. Have you guys ever seen that movie? Ever? Well, okay, I'll give you the premise of it. So basically, their daughter and the family, they live out in the middle of nowhere, and there's these aliens that try to attack them all the time. And they find out that the daughter has like half cups of water in her room, and those seem to protect her from the aliens for some reason. I guess the aliens are scared of water. Well, this freaked the shit out of my other son and I, because my eldest son has half cups of Taco Bell cups around his bed with like Mountain Dew in them. We're like, what the hell? And then he had like all this like Taco Bell wrappers, and I was like, oh, I thought he was like just lazy, but he's actually really protecting the family. He could actually be saving the world right now, as far as I know. Okay, let's just let him sleep. He's doing something very important. Yeah, so I'm proud of him. I think that's pretty cool. Something that you guys probably don't know about me is that I haven't seen my vagina in a long time. I think it's been about 10 years, if I think correctly. It's been a long time, so I thought I'd put flyers around town, and I hand drew a picture. Have you seen my vagina? No one responded. I did get a call from someone, and they said, yeah, I think so. I saw your vagina. It was wearing like a messy bun, and it had like sunglasses on downtown. It's like, no, that doesn't sound like my vagina. And then, yeah, so then, but I heard, then someone's like, yeah, I've seen it, and I heard my vagina is actually incognito. It's in disguise. It now has like a long beard, and it has a monocle that it wears, because there's an APB out on it. Yeah. Evidently, my vagina is wanted for check fraud. Yeah, it's been writing promissory notes it hasn't kept in a very long time. So yeah, I mean, if any of you happen to see it around town, just call the cops, seriously, because it's, disoriented, and it's definitely armed and dangerous, and maybe it could poke your eye out, possibly. All right, my name's Amy Lee Smith. All right, so our next comic, Tim Miller, he's coming up here. He's a very funny guy, one of my favorite comics. And he has an awesome podcast called It's the End of the World as We Know It. Let's give it up for Tim Miller.
Thanks, everyone. Give up for Amy. It's called The End of the Show, not The End of the World. Just, you didn't want me to steal your set, Amy? I was going to do all your material all over again. No? Okay. Let's see what I have. Can't use that joke. Shouldn't use that joke. Don't want to use that joke. Okay. I kind of want to open up a butcher shop that just specializes in chicken. Mostly so I can put a sign out on the front that says, if you hear a squawking, don't come a knocking. Yeah. Some people like to live their life in the fast lane. I like to live my life in the carpool lane, meaning that I drive down the highway of life in a clown car full of all my insecurities, low self-esteem, fear of intimacy, being a middle child, my childhood fear of Furbies. They're all just in there, just trying to take control of the wheel, trying to steer me in the wrong direction. Jesus is also there, but he's in the trunk with all the other fictional characters, Batman, Michael Bluth, Darth Vader, who have all had just as much effect on my life as Jesus. So if I would have wrote that song, it wouldn't have been Jesus take the wheel, it'd be Jesus stay in the fucking trunk. Yeah. My grandma did tell me the other day that I need to start following Jesus. I told her I will when Jesus leads me somewhere exciting, like a bar or a strip club, not church, where I can just eat stale crackers, drink cheap wine, and listen to people speak gibberish. If I wanted to do that, I'd just hang out with my brother. Yeah. You know who does follow Jesus, though? Which I feel is kind of weird. Kevin Sorbo, TV's Hercules. Like, he went from playing, like, the son of one god to, like, on TV, just be really into, like, a son of a different god. Which would be, like, if I played the Joker in, like, a Batman movie, which is maybe a dream role for me, and I just became a juggalo, like, right after that. Yeah. Jesus also has Dean Cain, TV's Superman. He has even Chuck Norris, Walker. So I feel like Jesus is just trying to keep, like, his enemies close, you know. Because I feel like Superman and Hercules and Walker, even though Walker would have to fight with an actual walker at this point, he has to keep them close. Has anybody seen that new Walker reboot? That's what I expected. I watched, like, one episode of it. Didn't have enough, like, roundhouse kicks for me. But I don't think they needed to reboot it. I think they needed to, like, launch a spin-off, you know, like Jogger, Montana Druid. Little D&D joke for you guys. So there's this conspiracy theory going around that Helen Keller didn't exist, which is a weird thing. I don't know why you want to bully a disabled person that's been dead for 50 years, but okay. So if we can pretend that Helen Keller exists in like 20, 25 years, can we pretend that Donald Trump didn't exist? Like, can we, like, treat the presidency like a building where, like, they just pretend the 13th floor doesn't exist? They just skip from 12 to 14 for superstition for superstitious reasons. Can we just skip from, like, the 44th president to the 46th? Just pretend we're on a break for like 4 years? Can we do that? I'm asking anybody. God, I hope Trump doesn't try to come back in 2024. I hope he's either in jail or dead. I'd be okay with either one of those. Because that'll leave it wide open for me to run for office in 2024, you know? I think I could do it. Might run for office. Already have my campaign planned out. My slogan, which is going to be, imagine a better tomorrow yesterday. And I have my campaign, I have my, whatever they are, campaign things planned out. I have my 2 M's. My first M stands for mints, because I think everybody should have fresh breath. So much so I'm just going to get completely rid of healthcare and replace it with mint dispensers on every corner. Call it Miller Kinda Cares. Then I have my second M, which is magicians. Because I think of it like a poof. Is that what you call a group of magicians? I guess that's what I'm calling them. A poof of magicians, I think we can solve a lot of our problems, you know. Like we can solve world hunger by just pulling rabbits out of hats. We can solve the deficit 1 quarter a year at a time. And we won't need a military if we can just make our enemies disappear. Yeah. And finally, I have my 2 C's. Stands for 2 cups of coffee every morning. So I'm a 2 cups of coffee kind of guy. And I believe in that so much, I think everybody else should be. Like everybody from like newborn babies to 100-year-old people should be drinking 2 cups of coffee every day. If you're drinking only 1 cup or you're drinking more than 2, you can get the fuck out. Also, if you're drinking decaf, that doesn't count, and I'm sending you into the sun. So vote for me in 2024, maybe. I'm Tim Miller, and I approve this set. Coming up to the stage, this next comedian got me for our Secret Santa. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't wear the shirt that he gave me, but give it up for Nathan St. Onge, everybody.
Keep it going for the lovely Tim Miller. Good shit, Tim. That's pretty funny. I'm Nathan St. Onge. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Who was supposed to be here? Aaron Jewell. That would be like this, I guess. Hey, titties, dick, pussy. And everybody laughs. Fuck. I hate that. Anyway, hi. That's pretty good. No, I'm completely ill-prepared. I've got some notes here. I think maybe some of them are comedy notes. How's everybody doing at home? Where are they? Over there. That's okay. Dad, is that a boy or a girl? Shut up, Jamie. You don't know the fucking difference anyway. Yeah. Oh, I recently discovered the most amazing sausage. I will send you a link. On my way over to the club tonight, I saw 2 people carrying a washing machine. I thought, geez, if I had a dolly for every time I saw that, I could help. We all know that Plato was a philosopher. Was Lego also a philosopher? I like my women how I like my coffee. I should not have done this. I like my women how I like my coffee. Never after 2 p.m. I think my logic there was that if the women or coffee that I've consumed by 2 p.m. haven't done me any good, fuck them. I don't know. I'm in therapy. Are you guys in therapy? That's good. Yeah. My therapist told me that some of my biggest fears may not be legitimate. I said, oh yeah? Are you treating any Christians? Why do I always have to pick on Christians? I think it's because deep down inside I do believe in God, and I realize how stupid that is, so I take it out on other believers. Yeah, listen, I thought I had my social media scrolling under control until I found myself scrolling Venmo just to see who paid who for what. You know, that's pretty embarrassing. Oh, Sheila paid Tom $40 for hospital bills. Yeah, right. Hospital bills is code for weed now on Venmo. Goodness gracious, thanks so much. Aaron Jewell, blah, 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 blah. When I was about 12 years old, I was really into Allen Ginsberg. Had I only known at the time that he would have been really into me as well. You know, I've put a lot of thought into that, and it's fucked up because I think I would have let him. And I'm not sure if that's bad or not. I keep getting notifications from Facebook that I'm tagged in a photo that I'm not in. And I'm not sure if they just wanted me to see the photo or if I used to be in the photo. I'm not sure. Some really weird notes here that I'm not sure if they were ever supposed to be jokes. Some of them are more detailed than others. Ginger reveal party. It says ginger reveal party, pretty big, and then smaller it says non-smoking event. I don't know what that means. I wish my mom was non-monogamous. Why would I? Oh, you know, I mean, I do suppose it would be really nice, really good for her to date someone, anyone other than my stepdad. I think that'd be good for her. She deserves it. Okay. I'm like a phoenix rising from the ashes, except instead of a bird with mystical powers, it's just a regular person who, although is slightly lactose intolerant, still chooses to eat cheese 2 or 3 times a week. And there are no ashes. There are just some old blankets. I'm Nathan St. Ange. I would also like to say something before I go. This has been weighing on me for about 10 minutes. There's another comedian coming up after me. And they're wonderful, and their name is Lynn Solomon.
Thank you, thank you. Put your hands together for Nathan, folks. Before I get started, a huge thank you to the Zach. Give some love to the Zach. Huge props to the Roxy. I'm so grateful that we can raise some money for the Roxy. I know the Roxy means a lot to pretty much probably every comedian in this town, certainly the people in this room. I've had a lot of really great shows at the Roxy, both as a participant and an audience member, and so I'm really happy that we can hold up our end of the deal and help them keep doing what they do so well. So this is how much I love y'all, people in the room and people at home. I'm wearing makeup today. Hold for applause. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't the person who wore a lot of makeup anyway, but like since the pandemic, ladies, back me up on this. When you go open up your makeup after like 11 months of sitting in the cabinet behind your toilet, it all looks like the stuff you find like around the top of the mayonnaise jar. It was not pretty, strangely enough. I don't do a lot of political humor, but okay. So there is this politician in the news, and I will not name her. She is a congressperson from Georgia. She's dreadful. She's a bigot. She's ignorant. She's reprehensible. However, we've gotten that out of the way. But she also is someone who espoused the belief that in 2018, the forest fires in the western part of the United States were not created by like global warming or human error, but by space lasers belonging to Jewish people. That's what she said. So this created a lot of questions for me. You may not know this about me, but I am half Jewish. I have a Jewish father and a Catholic mother, which is why one of my hobbies is guilt. But my question, and so I did a lot of research, because what does this mean for someone who, like me, is a Semite? So the more I looked into it, I found out that if you're only partially Jewish, the Jewish space lasers, they kind of have, it's a different capacity, if you will. So they're not really space lasers when you only are partially Jewish, folks. You can use them for other uses. I mean, the one I found fascinating was circumcision. The other one that I thought was pretty interesting was you could use your non-space Semitic laser for, making a nice kugel or braising your brisket, if you will. Yeah, and the other one, and I thought this was fascinating too, you can, in the wintertime, there's a holiday, and you have your space lasers, and there's this contraption that you put your space lasers in, and there's 8 of them, and then you have the 9th space laser that you use to activate the other 8 in consecutive days, not long before Christmas. Okay. You guys probably know this about me. I am a word nerd. In my another life, I was a sports writer. I was a reporter. I was a journalist. So I am a big word geek. Just recently, the Merriam-Webster put out the list of the new words. Every year they put out, these are the new words in the dictionary. And some of them this year, one of them I thought I was surprised was not in there. It's actually a phrase, was like silver fox, which was about like a dapper, older man. Also, and this is very timely, second gentleman. I thought that was kind of cool because, it was second gentleman now. But, and some of them were a lot of COVID-related words and things like that. And I'm down with that. I'm down with legitimate words that, I'm all about language growing and changing. What I'm not down with are words that we just sort of make up. So the one, anytizer. You've seen this, there's an anytizer. So an anytizer is a small thing you eat, and you can either eat it as part of a meal, or you could eat it before a meal. Is snack too on the nose for you? Another question I had was, a word that we have made up that, honestly, people, we didn't need it in the first place, and I don't care if I ever hear it again. Tablescape. Your Thanksgiving tablescape. Okay. Then there's a whole, one that I think is very curious and really quite fascinating is mansplain. Which in a weird way, isn't the existence of a word like mansplain kind of mansplaining? Just a thought. Speaking of mansplaining, then there's this whole category of made-up words that I think are largely aimed at women. Glamping. Glamour and camping. Sure, yeah. And, hello, what's happening here in a week? Galentine's Day. As if Valentine's Day isn't annoying enough. Galentine's Day. Yeah, okay. As I am such a word nerd, I know we've all talked about all the different things that we've done during the pandemic. I play a lot of Words with Friends on my phone, and I'm really good at it. I mean, I've learned a lot, though, too. I've learned, like, you can use the word jonesing on Words with Friends. You can't use the word dumbass. Note to self. The other thing I've noticed is that people can message you via Words with Friends. So, like, when you're playing a game, they can send you a message like, hey, good play, or thumbs up, smart emoji, whatever. But then there's also people who, I mean, there's, like, dudes who, they sort of, like, hit on you via Words with Friends. I mean, I'm a nerd, but, you know, we all have our line, and they're always like, so where are you playing from today? Oh, did you hear that noise? Where are you playing from today? And I'm like, I'm playing from the place, then I'd proceed to kick their ass. But anyway, those of you who know me and know my jokes, I do a lot of jokes about, you know, I'm 54. I talk a lot about sort of the dating life of someone my age. It's pretty weird. And honestly, I mean, obviously, online dating is truly online dating in the last 11 months. But for me, it seems like it's sort of turned a corner. I, in the last 6 months, have gotten online dating messages from a 78-year-old, a 73-year-old, and mind you, I like them old and cranky. Just saying. But I got a message from a 78-year-old and a 73-year-old. But perhaps the pièce de résistance was when I got a message from a 70-year-old, and all he said was, oh, if only I was younger. And I thought, you went out of your way to send me a message that says basically nothing. But then it got better, because then a few weeks later, I got the exact same message from the same guy. But by this point, he was 71. I figure he just, you know, forgot. Yeah. You know, and it has kind of taken a whole different turn. I mean, you know, guys will say, shelter in my place. Or they'll tell you how they're essential. Or they'll tell you, well, now there's a whole category of, I've been vaccinated. Yeah. You know, masks. I think we all talk about masks a lot. Tonight, like I said, I'm wearing makeup. I asked my family, is it too high reference if I do a joke about how the inside of my mask is like the Shroud of Turin? Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. It's only a little high reference. I think it's so funny the way women react to one another with masks, because it's become an accessory, right? Like how we talk about scarves or earrings, or, I mean, I suppose it's not unique to women, but sort of like, Michaela, your mask is super cute. Where did you get it? It brings out, it totally makes your eyes pop. So now we have this whole conversation about this thing. So that's all I have tonight, folks. I'm Lynn Solomon. Thank you so much for letting me be up here with you. I am thrilled and lucky and happy to introduce, truly, I mean, I know we say this about each other, but really one of my favorite comedians in town. I was telling another comedian friend, like, I really pretty much enjoy this guy's work all the time. I'm grateful. Next Tuesday, I'll be lucky enough to share the stage with him at Stave and Hoop. So he'll be hosting, and I'll be on the lineup. So please welcome to the stage Jordan Demander.
Thanks, Lynn. Thanks, everybody. Big shout out to the Zach and to Sarah for making this happen tonight. And it's also a benefit for the Roxy, so big shout out to the Roxy. That's a cool thing to remember about the comedians here in Missoula. Like, definitely not just doing it for the laughs. Sometimes doing it for no laughs at all, and that's just how it goes. Lots of different benefits. You know, we've done several different sock drives for people with bare feet or whatever. A while back, Sarah did a benefit for Planned Parenthood. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to that one, but at the same time, I've given those guys plenty of business over the years. So I'm not too worried about that. Snowing outside, do you guys like the snow at all? Yay, snow? No? I don't like the snow because the other tenants in my building can tell that I pee in the yard. But I still do it. Still do it. Peeing outside and smoking inside, those are like my two favorite things to do. Strange times. You guys ever heard that before? Oh, these are weird times. These are strange times. That's actually my least favorite thing about this whole thing is the strange times, weird times. I just don't feel like it really captures things. Like I feel like these are just dark times. Strange times makes it sound like we're living in like Dr. Seuss land or something. It's like, oh, that's what green eggs and ham tastes like. Weird. Or that's a strange looking tree. Oh wait, that's a Grinch boner. I think Grinch boners are super funny for some reason. They're dark times though. Dark times, people that know me know that I've been making a lot of poor life choices. I recently started playing Magic the Gathering. Also, I've been microdosing meth. The trick is you just do a tiny amount every 10 minutes. So I've got about 9 minutes to get off the stage here. And keep the cycle going, I'm a big fan of substance abuse in general, though. I like substance abuse mainly just because it's super fun. Also, I feel like of all the different types of abuse, substance abuse is generally the least frowned upon. Like if your neighbor finds out you're abusing your dog, they'll probably tell on you. But if they find out you're abusing substances, they just ask if they can come hang out. Yeah, I'll pick up some more substances, then we can really abuse them. They won't call the cops on you if they find out you're abusing your cat, I found out. It's cool. He's fine. He's fine. Their memories only like cycle through 8-second increments. He doesn't even know what's going on. Different substances I like to abuse. I'm pretty big on abusing weed. I know a lot of... I play music. I used to think that musicians smoked a lot of weed till I started hanging out with stand-up comedians. And they just smoke so much weed. It's insane. I like the weed smokers out there, but there's like your stereotypical pothead who insists that things I don't like will just be more fun if I do them on weed. And sometimes they're right. Like I used to hate going to local stand-up comedy shows. And my buddy was like, have you been going sober the whole time? So much better on weed. And he was right. I have another friend that is always trying to get me to go fishing, like half the other people in Montana. They just don't understand I don't like fishing. This guy insists I'll love it if I just go fishing on weed. And I don't buy it. I mean, I'll definitely go down to the river and do drugs with you. I just don't need to trick animals while we're down there. We could just do the drugs. Another good substance to abuse, acid. You guys like abusing acid? Have you ever tried acid on weed? It's pretty much the same. It's like paper beats rock, acid beats weed. You can't even feel the weed. Save your weed for tomorrow. Alcohol is a big one. Like losing the bars, when the bars shut down because of this pandemic, that's like when this became like a real thing for me. Like I know for some people it was the NBA stopping. For some people it was because, someone they love died or whatever. For me it was the bars closing. That's when I was like, holy shit, this might actually affect my life. This is a real thing. Because I like the bar. The bar is cool. It's like a secondhand store for friends. It's like, well, these aren't really my style, and they look a little worn out. I'm not going to sit here without any pants on. I guess we'll do this. I was leaving the bar the other night. I got pulled over for buzz driving. All the comedians were like, whatever, you've been telling this joke for 2 years now. And thanks for pointing that out, Tim. Now everyone out there knows that. So anyway, a couple nights ago, I got pulled over for buzz driving. A lot of people think that buzz driving just is drunk driving. That's okay, I've been wrong before too. I forgive you. The officer who pulled me over basically said as much. He's like, well, I can tell you're not drunk, but you're clearly not sober. So I'll tell you what, how about you walk your happy ass home, and my partner and I can get back to doing what Missoula cops do best, jerking each other off to Mumford & Sons. Mumford & Sons fans in the audience? So I shook both their hands, and I went on my way, and I felt amazing. Like, I realized something walking home that night. Like, it doesn't matter if we're talking buzzed or drunk or stoned or religious. Whatever your drug of choice is, there's no high like the high you get when you first realize you're not going to jail. Easily the best feeling I've ever had. It's honestly the first time in my life I felt like I was capable of making any kind of difference in the world. Like I was a superhero, like I was Captain America if he was younger and maybe had some kind of weird thyroid condition. The problem is like all those highs, like this is also super addictive. Like every night since, I've just been like chugging 3 beers and driving around like a crazy person, hoping that I might almost get arrested again. Which is incredibly hard to do when you live somewhere where half the other drivers are just doing that exact same thing. I think you have a problem, Missoula. Like real alcoholism in this town, not like that fake made-up genetic alcoholism where it's like, oh, I drink because my mom drank. Because it's way more likely that your mom drank because of you, and not the other way around. Yeah, super dark times, man. Every time I can't remember where I'm gonna go again, I'm just gonna say super dark times, and it's gonna remind me what the next thing I was gonna talk about was. Anyone else just entirely disappointed with the way that the end of the world version of themselves has been acting over the past year? I have been being pretty fucking reckless. Like a year ago, I kept trying to convince everybody that they could hang out with me because I had the virus back in February. And now all my friends are just like, how the fuck have you not had this shit yet? You're like the one guy that should have had it like 10 times already. That's how it works, right? I don't know. End of the world me didn't do so hot, which is too bad because I'm a big fan of like apocalypse movies and apocalypse scenarios, and I've always thought that like you would want me on your apocalypse team. Like you guys want me on your team in the case of a real apocalypse. And the only reason I can think of is, I don't have a lot of skills, but I promise I won't lose my shit. I'll keep my shit together. I will be there. Which is a pretty lame reason. Like, if we're picking teams for the apocalypse, they're just going to be like, well, this woman promises she won't lose her shit, but she's a doctor. So we're going to go ahead and have her over you, comedy guy. And this guy promises he won't lose his shit, but he knows how to change his own oil. So we're also just going to pick him over you. These two guys promise they definitely will lose their shit, but they're Daft Punk. And so we just want to have them on our team anyway. But it doesn't matter because I clearly was not capable of keeping my shit together. The first 3 days of quarantine, just excessive drinking and television, which is what I assumed most of us were doing. And then instantly, day 4 hits, and I was buying cocaine and falling in love with sex workers. Well, technically, she bought the cocaine. I've just been paying for it ever since. With that soul toll, paying that soul toll. Side note: if you're not getting your sex from a sex worker, you're wasting your money. That would be like if you needed to have a tooth pulled, instead of going to the dentist, you just came over to my house to have me do it. And I would do that for you because I'm a good person. Probably not a good idea, though. And the bummer is, pre-pandemic, had I told one of my buddies this story, they would have just been like, "Oh, sweet! Like you did cocaine and got laid last night. Like we were all starting to wonder about you. That's awesome. And do you still have any of that cocaine left over?" But when I told my friend about this, back in April, during quarantine, he just lost his shit. He was like, "You did what? You did what last night? Don't you know we're in the middle of a pandemic? You can't be having sex with strangers." But also, do you have any of that cocaine left over? I didn't. No one really has leftover cocaine ever. They're never like, no, we just decided to stop doing it. We all got tired. And we decided to call it a night. No, there's no leftover cocaine. Nathan did his coffee joke, so I feel like I want to do my coffee joke. I like my coffee like I like my women like I like my coffee. Extra room for cream. All right, hey, anyone, thanks so much, everyone. I'm going to get Sarah back up here. This has been super fun. Thanks, viewers.
Give it up for Jordan, everybody. Keep it going. Hooray. Yay, thank you so much for attending tonight. If you haven't given, please give just a few bucks. The Zach and the Roxy keep arts in our town, and this last year has been shitty. So throw a few bucks their way. Thank you so much. We're back next month on March 13th. It is the 1-year anniversary of the pandemic on March 13th. That's the day that Missoula shut down. It's the 1-year anniversary of the first case that was confirmed in Montana, and everything just went black. We're going to celebrate that with cake and music and comedy, and it's going to be amazing. So please check back there for that, and thank you for coming tonight. See everybody later. Bye.